on Horse Sense, my stunt double was Gio.
Gio, yeah.
And he was just ripped. He was actually, I was in good shape. You know, I've always prided myself on trying to be in good shape, but he was bigger than I was. And I was so happy because I was like, I'm going to even look better than I look. Happy Friday, everybody!
Happy Friday!
Welcome to Belly Love Pod, everybody.
Welcome to the pod,
in
baby.
the house.
Woo!
We are back. We are here. We're so thankful. You know, we ought to talk about, you know, all the projects we've been lucky enough to do together, especially here on the Belly Love Pod. And one of the ones that really holds a special place in all of our hearts that is a movie called Horse Sense, which sort of really started a whole new chapter. Yeah, one of the OGs, but led to Jumping Ship, which everybody has been so fond of and we've talked about on this show. But, you know, the director of that movie, which turned out so well. And is an amazing guy and director. Just, he's done, I mean, incredible things. He directed one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid called License to Drive.
Oh, yeah.
With Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Heather
That's
Graham.
The one that you would sit me down.
Yes.
And make me watch.
That's right. Incredible movie. He also did Smallville and
Heroes. Yeah.
Lots
He
of
did
stuff.
The Secret Benedict Society.
Goes on and on and on. Anybody, let's, without further ado, please
Greg
welcome
Beeman
Greg
in the house,
Beeman.
everybody.
What's up, buddy?
What's going on?
Hello, guys. How are
What's
you? Nice
up,
to see you all
man?
again.
What's up, Greg? It's so crazy, man. You know, you obviously, when we first were putting that movie together and we were trying to find a director, we said, we got to get somebody good, right? One of my favorite movies growing up was License to Drive. Really was. Dude, I would always make Matt watch, you know, because Matt and I were like, you know, 3.5 years apart, right? So the movies, I would always, and I was a good big brother, so I didn't watch like creepy crap, but I watched good stuff, which I was able to grow up with in the 80s, right? We had all these amazing movies. So I made Matt watch License to Drive and Weekend at Bernie's and Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink and all these great movies that, you know, defined my younger youth growing up. And that was one of them, man. I had the VHS, and that was one of our weekend watches.
Oh, yeah, for
so,
sure.
like, all these years later when we were doing Horse Sense, and they were like, they were throwing out names, and I was like, well, okay, wait a minute. He was like, he directed License to Drive. I was like, License, we got to do it. We got to get this guy. It's crazy, man. And then, obviously, you crushed that movie. I mean, you really did. That was a really beautiful film. I mean, for what we had to work with.
Yeah, you're right. I'm very proud of it. It's very emotional. It hits the right heartstrings. I think it's very cinematic.
That's another thing, is that the cinematics, and you set the standard because so many other films tried to copy that for the Disney Channel, and in my opinion, a lot of them failed. And then it just
Is that your opinion,
It
Joe?
is. And then it just degraded into, you know, a much more superficial type of filmmaking over there. But what you did to it was this. I mean, that movie could have come out in the theaters, and that's what I loved about that movie. You really approached it like old school Disney.
It really felt like a
great
feature
films.
film. Yeah.
It felt like a feature.
It really did. It wasn't an MOW.
No.
It wasn't just some throwaway. It was really It really had a lot of weight to it. It totally did.
It did, and that's I was really proud of that. You know, and still to this day, people come up to us all the time and say it's literally the movie of my childhood. Like, I watch it every year, and I watch it with my kids, and it holds up. You know, and that's what's so cool about it.
You know what's so funny is that I auditioned and I didn't get the part for this movie.
Yeah, no, you didn't. No, you
That's
didn't.
true.
I don't have
That can't
it,
be
guys.
true.
What happened?
No, you weren't available or something. There was some. I heard the stories, but I don't know what it was. I don't believe that you auditioned and didn't get the part.
You were too busy, man. You were too busy.
Yeah, you had other better stuff to do.
No, you were in it. You had that one riveting scene.
That one little cameo where we walked by each other, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
And I remember that you guys had a bunch of canine dogs on set for that shoot. You had like a bunch of cop dogs. I love
what?
it.
Really?
Yeah, you did.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
you did.
that.
I don't
The
remember
police
that
officers
either.
they had 2 canine dogs. And
In
I
that
remember that.
station there?
Yeah, in the station.
Okay.
And I remember very vividly because that was the first time where I'd met a couple of Malinois, and I was like, oh, I love these dogs. So
That's crazy. Well, Greg had me up on horses and
yeah.
and shoveling crap and things that I don't like to do, but I was inspired to do it because I was looking at the monitor. He was like setting up these shots, and I was like, all right, I'll go do it. You know?
But you sort of were the character that they wrote, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that
He
was
really
pretty
was.
spot
Yes.
He
on.
really was.
Yes, I'm not the farm guy.
Do you remember the mud and all? Like he was miserable. all
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff. And he-
Yeah.
It's not. No, I've not. Yeah, I'm down. I'm for physical activity and all these things, but I'm a little bougie when it comes to like jumping around in mud and dirt and bugs. I don't love it. I don't love it.
Did he give you a hard time about doing any of that stuff? Because you know, I've tried the director's hat a little bit every once in a while recently. Very blessed to be able to do that and work with my brothers, and they always give me a hard time, man.
They?
Yeah, well, not really Matt. Joe in particular.
How do I get put into
Joe
this?
gives me a hard time.
time.
Did he give you a hard time?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
I love this guy.
See,
wow.
That's right.
It was good. It was like I had a good run with the Disney Channel that I didn't even see coming or expect, but there was a really good management team in place at that time.
There was.
Yeah.
And after my first two, they kind of just opened up the books for me. They'd say like, well, you know, here's our 4 best scripts. Which one would you like to do? I just had a great relationship with them. And I think I made 6 of those movies.
Wow.
But the Horse Sense and also Brink, which I did kind of back to back. Yeah, I had my cinematographer. I had my Steadicam operator. I had a great producer who went on, Bernie Caulfield, who went on to produce Game of Thrones. Like it was just a great team. I had a great editor, and like I had this team together that was almost the best team I've ever had in my life, of just people that I really liked, who were really good filmmakers, and yeah, it was just a really it was just a very easy collaboration where everything kind of came together smoothly, and I had a lot of freedom. I had a lot of freedom directorially. They really trusted me there, and
so cool.
It was great. It was a really good, cool. You know, and it's funny, I didn't see it coming. I didn't think getting in with the Disney Channel was like, at the front of it, I didn't think, oh, this is the greatest career move ever. But it turned out to be
of course not. Right. Right.
That's interesting.
That's so funny. Wow. I had no idea about the team. That's really cool. It
was my cinematographer was a guy named Rodney Charters. He went on to shoot like 24 for all the whole run. And, he was great. I'd met him on a show called Nash Bridges. And he was a really talented guy, and I got a Steadicam operator who I'd met on the show Jag, and it was just a really good team, really, really top skill team.
Wow, that's cool.
That is awesome. I didn't know that.
And we also had a great stuntman. I'd never done a Western before, and when we did that cattle drive, that was so cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
We literally, one morning, like I got there at 5 a.m, the sun was just coming up in this big field, and they started offloading like 400 cows. Wow. Like truck after truck after truck showed up, and they just started offloading these cows. And these guys knew what they were doing, because they weren't making a lot of Westerns in those days. And and so the Western stuntmen just loved it, right? Those guys were in their heyday. They were in their element. And so remember that cattle herding scene where we heard
yeah, dude,
absolutely.
And we got one shot like right at sunset where the cows are being herded across I tried to make this classic Western shot, and there's this one super wide shot of all the cows being herded across the field, and it's kind of at sunset and they're all in silhouette. It was so pretty.
It was beautiful. You had some amazing moments. That scene with Andy and I at the tree.
Oh, the treehouse, that bench.
Oh,
the bench. That was a really beautiful scene for you, Andy. I thought you really reached deep, and I thought you did a great job of being very, very open and available.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I was a very special. The whole movie was really special, and a special performance. I think I peaked then and there. Which is
12.
Always, yeah.
And it's just been slow burn down. That's so funny. You know what's great, and I always see your name popping up in things. Obviously,
oh, dude,
you're just always working on such amazing stuff.
I'm such a diehard Smallville fan. Like I'm such a geek for Smallville. Dude.
That was sort of right. The very next thing that happened for me after the Disney Channel run was Smallville. I went up there to do episode 3, just to direct an episode, and I could sort of tell they didn't have it figured out, like production wise. Like there was a really great concept, and the writers knew what they wanted, but the production team didn't know what they wanted, and they fired a guy. And I just saw this opportunity because I loved it. I was like, oh my God, I get this. Like I always had been a comic book fan, and I sort of saw how to make that show happen, production wise, like how to make it.
Right.
And so basically auditioned myself for the job, and I got the job producing that show from episode 3 through the end of season 5, like
wow,
100 episodes. But that was a great. I've had a good career. It's been a little all over the map, but Smallville.
Yeah, you have. I'll tell you what I recently watched, and I saw your name, because I have my daughters and I both read the books. They were excited about the Secret Benedict Society, you know, and so when that came on,
yeah, that's another one
the
where
Mysterious
I felt like,
Benedict
that was-
Society. I mean, man, and we were watching this thing, and it was
so good,
so well done.
So
even
good,
the introduction, like the opening credits, were so brilliant. The way that they wound that into the story, and I'm watching it, and whose name comes up? Of course, Greg Beeman. I was like, oh my.
I would say that was the most challenging, most disciplined visual aesthetic I've ever had to do, because the directors, and I was kind of supervising all the directors.
Right.
That was after Horse Sense and the Disney Channel run, that was kind of the job I fell into, is producing director. But that one, to get all the directors in line, the production designer, the costume designer, the cinematographer, and the directors all had to be like in lockstep to do that kind of Wes Anderson look. It was very disciplined. You can't vary from the look. It wasn't optional.
It was astounding, and that's one of the things that I really appreciate is from episode to episode, even though you guys had different directors, the through line, it's and as you just said, it is highly difficult to do that.
Wow.
You did sort of what Favreau did for The Mandalorian. What's that? You came in and set the tone, and then had to be sort of like the Godfather to make sure that people came in and felt like they could direct, but within the parameters that were set forth. And you did, dude, it was a brilliant season. I mean, it was unbelievable. My girls and I, that was like event television for us.
I won the whole directing team won an Emmy for that. So I finally got an Emmy.
Wow.
That is just, and you should have,
cool.
you should have, because it was fantastic. I wanted them to make 5 more seasons of that show, you know? Love that show so much. It was so good. We literally event TV, my girls and I. Huh?
Your daughter liked it?
They loved it. At the time, they were probably 16 and 12. And man, that was event TV for us. Like, we waited for the new episode to come out, and we went and watched it as soon as it came out. Amazing. Amazing. But you've done so many things, but that was just one of the more recent things that I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Greg. He's doing this too. I told them the whole story, because they've seen Horse Sense. I was like, he directed that movie. They're like, no, like, yes. Yes.
Yeah, License to Drive. Girls, sit down, watch this.
Yes.
Well, Joe would do that.
I found that, I guess it's been a nice career. I'm kind of winding down now, and I'm on the verge of retiring. But
really? You're still a young chap, man.
No, I'm 63.
Hey, man, that's nothing.
I know.
Nothing.
You can't retire until we work together.
Yeah, we got to do one more thing, Greg. One more thing, man.
I'm doing a few jobs a year. I'm just not working like I used to. I'm not working.
I get it. No, I get it. Of course.
It's tough. It's a tough career, which I think the world doesn't know. You don't get to see your family. You're working like 15, 16-hour days. It's very physically brutal.
It is.
Being in production is a very physically demanding job, which I don't think people think about, right? Because I'm like on my feet all day long, running around. It's just you burn an energy all day long.
No, it is.
And I was always in different cities than my wife and kids, and it was tough. So
I know.
I get it.
No,
I'm super happy, but it's just it's one of those careers that takes a toll,
For sure.
It definitely does, and it's very disruptive, at times. I mean, a lot actually, especially if you're successful like you were and always working. It's very disruptive. So how many
go to a different city?
How many kids do you have?
I have 2, a 29-year-old girl and a 26-year-old boy. How old are you, Andy?
Wow.
I'm 36.
36. So you're 10 years old. Oh, that's right, because my son was 2 years old on Horse Sense. And the cowboy guy who was the stunt coordinator, his name will come to me. His name was Walt. He just took him and put him on a horse and ran, galloped off.
Dude, those guys were.
And I was like, what's happening?
They were the real deal, man. Those guys were the real deal.
My son has always loved horses ever since then.
Really?
He literally just had my son on the saddle for the whole day, riding around. The stunt coordinator worked from a horse the whole day, every day.
Wow.
Wow. That is so cool. I didn't realize that. All right, so boy and a girl. That's crazy. Wow. I got 3 girls. I have 3 girls, so crazy times, man. And you're right. People don't realize how challenging it is. I've been, we've all been doing this. I mean, this is my 43rd year of doing this. It's I mean, there's great times, but it's a lot of work and it's challenging at times. I mean, the ups and downs are real,
Yeah, right. Because it's also, there's no job security. So you go through.
Yeah.
I've had a good career, as you guys are saying, and it's undoubtedly true, but in there's periods of sometimes a year, sometimes a year and a half, where it's like just dry, and you're like, oh my god, you know
What
dude, I know.
I know, it's crazy.
And even just like prepping a project and getting something started, like the amount of energy that takes just to get it going is, I mean, it could take months of just time in, no check, no money, and just lots of energy and persistence and investment and dedication. It's wild. It's actually really wild. I had no idea. I want to go back to the days of just getting a call time and you know, being able to show up and go home. Those were great.
I sort of avoided that part of the business, which I know. Really
smart.
The selling. That's sort of why I ended up getting into TV, because they more or less they call you and they have a job, and the job starts, you know, in a month, and it's a little bit better than that grind of trying to pitch and sell all the time, which I'm not as good at that. I can do it, but I'm not as good at it, and I don't love that hustle.
I know.
Yeah, really
I don't like it
being
either.
in production. I really do. I like being in production. I like working with a crew. I love working with actors. You know, I enjoy that. I like designing. I really do love the experience of designing a movie and making, you know, having it have a clear, consistent visual plan.
I know.
You know, yeah, it's super cool.
I really do love it.
And the business has changed so much. Don't you see, right? Don't you find that? I feel like for us, like, you really do get a perspective doing it as long as we all have, and it's really just so different now. People don't, you know, with all the places to watch and the things to watch. I mean, everything is everywhere. Trying to find stuff is weird. Like, you can watch Yellowstone here and 5 episodes over here and 2 episodes. It's like, wait a minute, no, there's only season 1 on this platform. And you go, it's a really strange time. I know there's a lot of content, which is great. People love that because obviously it gives people a lot of opportunity for work. But I feel like it's also all over the place.
I've heard the business is at 25% right now.
What, in terms of like
what product they're making? They're at 25%.
Well, it's been a strange time with all the strikes and all the weird things that we've had, and just people trying to, you know, rebound off of, you know, the whole shutdown for all the, you know, for the 2 years there, and it's not quite, you know, rebounded yet. We were hit with that strike for almost 9 months, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the main thing I've noticed is when I started my career, I was 25 or 26 years old when I directed License to Drive.
Were you, wait, you were only 25 or 26 and you directed License to Drive?
Yeah. And it was, I came out of film school. I had a student film that won some award.
Oh my.
Yeah, I'd done two Disney's Sunday night movies before that. So my first Directors Guild of America job was when I was 23.
Wow.
So I was like 26 when I directed License to Drive. But my point was I caught the kind of the tail end of the cowboy. Like, it was so different than it is now. It was just like anything goes. Like, I just remember we were in Long Beach and Corey Haim was 15 years old. He did not have a driver's license, but he was a good driver. And he was driving down the street with a police escort. You know, we had a camera in the camera car. It was cowboy. Like, we just did stuff that was just edgy and sketchy and fun. And of course, you know, as the decades went on, the business got more and more and more corporate. And there's a real plus to that because now it's so much safer than it used to be, and you don't do 16-hour days, day after day after day. Right. And you know, and I think there's no like hostile work environments and stuff like there used to be, but it's also become a little, you know, drier. The experience of making films has become a little drier. But that I really caught the tail end of that kind of Wild West days of Hollywood with that movie, because it was so crazy, like what was going on behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. And you know, and I honestly, and I know people have talked about it, but I really do miss the look of the 35. I just feel like 35 millimeter camera, you know, the film, the celluloid itself just lent itself to just this innate edge and graininess that I absolutely love. When I see it, I feel like it just looks better. I know it's crystal clean now and everything's perfect, but there's something that I really miss about the way that a lot of those movies that I grew up with just looked inherently, you know?
Well, I think it's become easier to be a cinematographer than it used to be.
Yes.
Because you're watching it right now. But it also, you know, it's easier to make things, it's easier to work faster, and it's easier to make it beautiful than it used to be. But it's a little less of a skill than it used to be, because you never knew what you didn't see the film until the next day. So cinematographers had to guess what they were shooting.
Amazing.
Remember dailies?
Yeah, dailies,
right?
would come
back.
So you'd shoot all day, and then you'd have to go to a theater at night and watch the film from the day before.
Wow.
And with License to Drive, I didn't have video assist, right? The video assist was sort of a brand new thing, and I was a kid. So they were like, You
You're
don't want
standing
that.
next to the
That's a
camera?
big pain. My producer were like, that's a big pain in the ass. You don't want that. That's really going to slow you down, video assist. So that was my operator. At the end of every take, I'd go to the operator. Okay, what'd you see? And I had to have this constant communication with the operator who would describe the shot he just did. I kind of nicked his head in the middle, and sometimes you'd watch the dailies going like, oh, you had no idea what was filmed.
Oh my!
Oh,
God. It's almost kind of fun. It's almost like a
Wow.
roulette type of scenario.
It was 1986, I think, when I made that movie. So yeah, the
Jeez.
video assist was like a brand new thing. Now you wouldn't dream of not having it.
Yeah, no.
They usually have like 40 monitors on set. People are watching it when I was doing Mysterious Benedict Society in Vancouver, my producers in LA were watching us as we shot. Like, it was like, Jesus. They'll call you up like, hey, can you frame a little to the right?
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
From their office in LA.
Isn't that crazy how technology
That
changed
is
things?
crazy.
Whew.
That is so crazy. Wow, you didn't have video assist.
Yeah.
Blindly just going, we got that, right? You know?
Yeah, it was the relationship with the operator was very important. That
Oh
was the
my
person who knew what you got.
Oh my gosh. That's right. Corey Haim, man. Corey Haim, Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman and
Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
Incredible. Those guys, I would often, I never ran in circles with those guys because they were a little older than me. And and honestly, I never got into like that crowd. You know, we were always just hanging out as a family, which I'm very thankful for actually, because it protected me from a lot of that stuff that those guys were exposed to, and then, you know, became part of for a while there, and obviously, you know, dealt with all that stuff. But every time I ran into those guys, they were super cool. Super cool.
They were very nice, and you know, Haim was a very talented actor.
Very talented.
He was. He really was. I liked both those kids. And Heather Graham was her SAG card
Oh my
job.
goodness.
It was her first ever job.
Wow.
What the heck?
Yeah.
No way.
So
Yeah.
you like she came and auditioned for you for that, right?
She did, and it's funny. And I guess so. I saw her. I didn't, as you said at the beginning of this thing. Sometimes we don't see each other for decades, right?
Yes.
So I guess somehow I must have told her this story because I was newly married. I'm still got the same wife, and I had VHSs of the auditions, and there was another actress who was pretty well known at the time and had done a lot of work. And I put them in side by side. I go, I got this girl. She's like, look at her. She's much more experienced. You know, she's much more nuanced. And then I put in Heather Graham and I go, and this girl, she's never done anything. Like, she's super raw. Like, and my wife goes, are you crazy? Look at that girl. She's like magical. You have to hire her.
Wow.
And so somehow Heather Graham knew that story, and I bumped into her at the Sutton Place Hotel in Vancouver.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Sutton
Place.
The Sutton Place Hotel in Vancouver is the only place I ever see people from Hollywood because everyone's staying there.
Yeah.
So I saw Heather Graham there like 20 years later, and she goes, oh, say thank you to Deirdre, your wife, because I know she got me my career when she told
way.
you she had to hire me.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That
And
is
the Sutton
the
place.
Sutton Place.
Sutton
Bringing
Place.
back memories.
What a
Jeez.
Caesar
Oh,
salad
yeah.
there.
Everybody stays there. When
Everybody
you're shooting
stays in
Vancouver, which
Sutton.
there's usually 50 productions in Vancouver. Everybody stays there.
I know. It's
Do they
crazy.
and do they still stay there? Is that still the go-to?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, there's a couple others now.
Wow,
but
that's incredible.
it's pretty threadbare. It's still, I like it there. They're always nice to me.
Yeah.
I've been going there since, you know, for 30 years, and they always like, Mr. Beeman. They recognize me. They see me coming. Mr. Beeman, Mr. Beeman.
That is so cool. They always had the best chicken fingers.
Amazing
With
chicken.
One
honey
time
mustard
I actually
sauce.
stayed there. One time I had a season, and I knew I was moving to Vancouver, so I arranged it so that I just told my agent, just only book me in Vancouver. And I had like 7 or 8 shows lined up in Vancouver. And I'd call the producers. I go, okay, like you don't have to fly me in, but you have to keep my room at the Sutton Place going for like the 4 days in between.
Yes.
So I stayed at the Sutton Place in this one room for 1 year.
What?
Wow.
No.
I did 8 shows in a row.
Oh,
Wait, what?
I was doing Lucifer, Timeless, a couple other shows. I just went back to back to back from one show to the other in Vancouver.
oh
I stayed in the
my
same hotel room.
gosh.
That's crazy. I mean, I think the longest haul I ever put in there was maybe a couple months.
Oh my
I
God.
thought that
a
was
year.
long.
A year.
Well,
Dude,
maybe it was
that's-
like 9 months, but it was a long time.
Wow, that's incredible. That's
And I told the producers, just you guys got to fill in the 6 days between Lucifer and Timeless. You guys got to pay for that, but you don't have to fly me because I'm here already. And they would
That's
always do it.
Awesome.
what a brilliant move. That's
Oh my gosh.
did Did your kids grow up in Vancouver or did they grow up in the States? Because I know you're up there for a while.
They mostly grew up in Los Angeles, but then, but they traveled around with me a lot. And now, ironically, they both live in Vancouver.
They both live in Vancouver now.
We all moved there. Eventually, my wife foolishly thought, let's move to Vancouver because then we can live together. And okay, maybe your audience will find this interesting. I was directing episodes of a show called Timeless, which I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's a really good show.
It is a good show.
But it's really good. And it was sort of like the same thing on Smallville. I could tell that between season 1 and season 2, there was an opportunity for me to get the directing, producing job. So I moved to Vancouver. I sold my house in Los Angeles. Trucks moved to Vancouver. And it's a big deal moving to a different country. Like, it's not like just moving from California to Texas or something. Like you know, there's a lot of international law you have to deal with. So we moved to Vancouver. I sold my house in LA, bought a condo in Vancouver. I knew I was going to get the job on Timeless. And then Timeless moved to LA.
Oh my gosh.
No.
And I was literally staying at like a little apartment in Los Angeles, about a mile from the house I just sold, working at the Paramount Studios lot where
Are you kidding me, dude?
Oh no.
No.
Dude.
I accepted the job and they called me up one day like, we've got great news. I'm like, yeah, what? We're moving the show to Los Angeles.
Oh
no.
my gosh, Greg.
Are you kidding? That's like, you can't write that. That's insane.
I know, but apparently that's pretty normal. All the other directors I talked to were like, oh yeah, that's what happened to me. I had an apartment in Toronto and I was never there, so I sold it. And then I got a job in Toronto for 3 years.
Of course.
It's just whatever, you know, it's a wacky business. Like I was saying at the beginning, you can't predict.
It is. So, wow. So, and now you split your time. You're in Vancouver. And do you ever spend time back in Los Angeles or do you not spend a lot of time?
No, I don't. I have Los Angeles anymore. I used to. I loved it for many, many decades, but
yeah,
there's no reason to be there. There's no work there.
No, you're right.
I know. I'm starting to feel that way about it.
We're all starting to get a little itchy.
The first time ever, really, I'm starting to feel like, you know, it's just, there's not as big of a need to be here.
Well, I don't want to take
up in the valley.
Yeah,
we're in the valley, which we like, but it takes us 40 minutes to go to Ralph's. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Every time I go back there, I'm in my car 2.5 hours a day.
I know.
You can't get around it.
You cannot.
You cannot.
They've never solved the gridlock problem. They've had decades and they just refuse to solve it.
They added one lane on the 405.
Yeah, they just keep pushing out lanes like that's going to do it, you know?
It did nothing.
Nothing.
No, it was shut down for 10 years and then they literally added one lane.
Right.
Really wild.
They kill you for 10 years while they build the one lane because they shrink it to 3 to build it. And then when you open it up, it doesn't fix anything.
No. And it was how many billions of dollars?
Yeah. Billions.
Crazy,
man.
Or my kids used to call it the 4 or 5 freeway because that's how fast you were going, 4 or 5 miles an hour.
Oh, that's great.
That's great.
Perfect sense.
That's great, man. Wow. Are either of your kids married or anything? Or are they still single?
Nope.
Late. Yeah. Well, that's
kids these days.
Yeah.
Joe's gonna say late bloomers, but I'm not married. I'm 36.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Kids these days.
I know. I know. I've been married a couple of times. It's tough, you know. But no, it's tough. It's very tough. You said you've been.
Joey, why are your brothers laughing?
Because they're jerks. That's why. You know how it. You know how it is. But you've been married. You've been married to the same lady all the way through, huh?
38 years.
Wow, that's really awesome,
cool.
Greg. That's really a testament, Greg. That really is. It's fantastic. Wow, 38.
It's mostly because she puts up with me.
Yeah.
Well,
I think she's putting up with me right now as we speak.
Yeah. She's like, I had something planned today. I didn't know you had this dumb Zoom with this podcast. We were supposed to do something. That's awesome, man. That is so cool. So you said you're starting to wind down a little bit and just be a little more obviously selective with your choices. And
I've had a funny career where I tend to do a type of thing for a long period of time, and suddenly I've fallen into this thing of working in Canada doing these Lifetime movies. So I just did this Lifetime movie. It was called The Murdoch Murders with Bill Pullman, and it's really good.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude,
cool.
And
it's
I did
fantastic.
one with Terry. I did one with Terry Hatcher that's on in like a month.
Really?
Terry Hatcher is a great actor. I didn't
Terry?
know. I mean, I knew who she was, of course, and like I was excited to work with her. It's a really good story. So it's sort of like that vibe I had with the Disney Channel, where I, like get these really good scripts and end up making these really cool movies. It's just now they're these Lifetime true crime things. But Terry Hatcher killed it. She's
Really?
so good.
Cool.
She's
so
great.
talented.
You know, oh, dude, she's great. You know what I loved her in?
She committed so hard. Like it's a really interesting role, and she committed so hard. I was just a pleasure to work with her.
It's so cool to see somebody that's had success like that and a career that's expansive like she's had, and it makes me happy to hear that somebody like that still comes to set and like still gets it, that they want in, like they want to work hard. They're not dialing.
Well, it was it was a very emotional. So she really wanted to work hard. It was just a very trippy. So I'll tell you the one or two sentence version of the story.
Sure.
So it's a true story about a woman in Wichita, Kansas, in 1977, who there was a serial killer going on at the time that was killing mostly women, and he started to stalk her and send her letters, and she got kidnapped one time, and then she got assaulted and stabbed by him, and then it turned out that it was all in her mind. She'd been abused as a kid, and she had like a split personality problem, and she was like literally fantasizing her kidnappings and stuff.
Wow,
and the police invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into the case, and so at a certain point they arrested her. She ended up in a mental hospital, and she finally resolved it. It's a cool story. So you can see that's a trippy character.
Yeah. Wow. Absolutely creates a pseudo reality and lives in that.
I absolutely love psychological thrillers.
Yeah,
They're like
too.
my favorites.
Yeah, it's cool.
Whenever I see
I think I'm looking. I mean, it's a good movie. I'm really proud of it, and so I have this weird career that keeps kind of shifting. I did Heroes and Smallville in the middle, and all these superhero things. I did a show called Stargirl with a superhero show.
No, it really is. Yeah, it's funny. You look at that, and you do have like segments. You have segments where you get into a certain vibe, and that's pretty cool. The Murdoch murders. That's crazy stuff. That story's crazy. I mean,
Bill Pullman was such a pleasure to work with, such a pro, and he committed hard. I think we really fed off each other because he was taking so many chances that it just made me take more chances directorially and cinematically.
That is so cool, man. I'll never forget Bill Pullman watching Independence Day and says, "This is our Independence Day." I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Like in the
he's great.
Oh, the last true era of summer blockbusters. When you would wait and anticipate.
That's a great movie.
It is a great movie. Great. It's everything that a summer blockbuster should be. It's epic. You've never before seen stuff like that.
It was so good.
All encompassing. You were there, and the audience was packed. I remember, that was our thing growing up. We would literally go because we spent so much time together as brothers and as a family. Every weekend we would see movies Friday, Saturday night. Every single weekend. And, the business was humming along then and was still pretty traditional then in terms of its rollout. And
I remember how packed the theaters used to be.
Oh, my gosh.
Packed. You couldn't, all the theaters were sold out. It didn't matter. There was 8 movies and they were all sold out.
I know.
It was such
we just went to see Bad Boys Ride or Die, which is a big hit. And there was 12 people in the theater.
I just had that experience myself. I know. I went and saw it. I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I was waiting for the audience vibe. It was this huge auditorium. There was 20 of us.
Yeah.
I liked it, though.
But I actually really liked it.
It was fun. Super fun.
They actually did those two guys.
I thought the
soundtrack.
Third act was really good.
It was so good.
First act and the second act struggled a little bit for me to get. It was it took a minute, but once it got going, I really loved
the soundtrack.
The son relationship.
Great.
That was great with Will Smith and his son.
Yeah,
I thought he was great. He was this. He had this
the guy
brooding, intimidating.
He was good.
He was good.
The son was good.
I thought that started to really work for me, and that third act I thought was pretty solid.
I just like the Hans
first
Zimmer.
First act was a little rough for me, but
I love that they paid homage
Hans Zimmer
to music,
so much.
Dun 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 dun. So good, so good.
Martin was great. He was funny.
Both those guys were really invested.
Yeah,
they really.
It was good to see Martin Lawrence. I thought very good. He was very good. I thought he was really on top of his game for that one, which was fun.
No, it was well executed. I always root for those throwback movies because they just remind me so much of my childhood growing up. Always root for those big time.
Do you remember on Horse Sense? I have a specific memory of you in a white tuxedo.
Sorry,
Jesus, man.
Excuse me, I've been holding that in for 5 minutes, guys.
My
I'm saying, God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, God bless you.
Yeah,
God bless
thanks.
you.
Thanks, Greg. You
Hello.
too.
You're like, you sneeze and they mock you. It's
Well,
tough.
What can I do?
There was a bit of an aerosol spray there. That, now I'm coated on my left
It was like
arm.
one of those restaurant misters in here.
Yeah,
It
or
was
when you
Matt.
go into a supermarket and you see the
Yeah.
produce being sprayed. That was basically me. And
We just
Matt
turned
was
into
the-
broccoli
yeah.
leaves in here. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I don't even know. Oh yeah, so you were in a white. Do you remember? You had an event or something, and I just remember you in a white tuxedo. You were leaving the set or something, or maybe you had to get a white suit. Like it was a wedding or something. There was something going on there.
Well, I don't remember
Yeah,
that, but
I
I
remember
know
it.
you would.
I have no
Andy.
memory of that, Andy. You sure that they didn't slip you something?
I was 12. Let's hope not. Hey, it was your set, man. It was your set. Let's hope not.
Do you remember that bull?
Oh
Remember
yeah,
that
the bull.
that they brought
Oh
out?
my god.
That thing! Oh my God! It was a bull, and
Yeah,
the
big
scene
bull.
where you fall in over the fence, right, and then you have to run away from
That's
it.
right.
That's right.
And that thing was mean. I remember,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Back off! Do not look it in the eye. Do not get." And I'm just saying, the back end of it, behind the tail, it was like,
Yeah, dude.
Huge.
I never seen anything like that in my life.
It was
was-
really insane.
I remember-
Did you really get in there with it?
No, the stunt guy did.
No, it was a stuntman.
Joe didn't do his stunts.
Well, come on. I wouldn't get in a
stuntman's
cage with a
name-
bull.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Actually, that's
Yeah, it was badass, and the bull actually it actually hit the side of the.
Oh yeah, it was pissed off.
Yeah, it was
It
not.
was just-
yeah.
Wow.
Constantly pissed off.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
We worked with. You remember MC Gainey was
MC Gainey was great.
He
He
was
was
a
the
badass.
best. I loved him.
I loved him. Loved him. Yeah, we had so much fun.
No, it was great.
There's also, you remember the barbecue? Do you remember there was somebody on the crew that had like a barbecue
Yep.
business or something, and they brought their
Oh, they made
their
all these
cookout
briskets
thing, and they were
Oh, yeah.
barbecuing. It was really a fun set, man. It was really cool. Horses and like
You had some
cowboys.
line about, do you guys have any turkey bacon? And he
Oh
goes,
gosh,
"It can come from a pig, boy."
that's Joe. That's Joe.
And I think
Yeah.
he more or less ad-libbed that. Bacon comes from a pig, boy.
Yep.
He did.
He did.
He did. You're
Remember,
right, Greg.
He also like did this thing. MC would grab Joe's hands and like would like look at them because he could tell that by the lack of callus and
That I was
use
a real- I
that
was
he
a
was a
real-
real
a real
softy.
wimp.
Yeah,
He went like this.
I loved working with him. He was great.
he was so cool. And then he was
was.
in Con Air too, like either right after that, and that was so fun.
He was.
to see.
He
to
did Con
see,
Air
yeah.
right after.
That
Yeah, it was
wild.
really cool.
It was really, it was a
cool.
wild movie. It was really fun.
It was.
He
great.
was like he was very comfortable on the horse too.
Oh yeah.
He was.
Oh yeah.
He was. Unlike me, definitely not comfortable.
I remember Andy. You took it really seriously. You were practicing on
Yeah,
horses for a
there
while.
was this really cool cowboy named Chris that like taught me how to ride a horse. I would go to the equestrian center for a couple months
Yeah, I
before we
remember.
started shooting, and I would ride. And I
You really got good at it.
I could still ride. I feel pretty comfortable on a horse to this day.
You know, that's really one of the great things about being in the entertainment
Oh,
industry.
it's true.
Is all these different skills, especially as an actor, you get to pick up.
Yeah.
Dude,
Like, you know, you got a horseback ride, you got a roller skate,
Archery, whatever it is.
You pick up all
Archery,
these
yeah,
crazy
whatever,
little
yeah.
things along the way.
I know.
especially as a
That's
child.
big
I mean,
plus.
for me as a child actor, I literally learned how to ride a bike on a
Yes,
movie set
I
on
did
Family
too.
Tree. I learned how to rollerblade on a movie I did called Young Hearts and Lemon. All of these ice skate and Jack Frost, ride horses and horse sense, all of wrestle and going to the mat, all these like things of my childhood. People ask me all the time, "Do you ever play sports or do this in school?" No, I didn't, but I got
But I played one in a movie.
Yeah, I got a vast amount of experience
true.
doing
It's
things.
It's funny.
as
It's
a
sort
kid.
of the same for me. Like I'm an expert in so many things that I know nothing about.
Exactly. Yes,
I did like military shows, so I know all about exactly how to salute, exactly how to line up. I've done so many cop shows. I know exactly how to clear a room, and I know what all the guns are. I've done medical shows. I've done courtroom shows. I know exactly about like I've never done any of that stuff in my real life.
Exactly.
But I know how it goes because I've had so many tech advisors in so many different situations.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's
Isn't that
so
crazy?
true.
I remember on Horse Sense, my stunt double was Gio.
Gio, yeah.
And he was just ripped. He was actually, I was in good shape. You know, I've always prided myself on trying to be in good shape, but he was bigger than I was. And I was so happy because I was like, I'm going to even look better than I look. Because, you know, the worst ever, believe it or not, I had done, and the reason why is because of like 2 years before, I had done a movie with my brothers called Brothers of the Frontier. And there was this big fight sequence on this rock with this Native American that I had to fight for, like the woman of my dreams. And the stunt double.
What is this story?
Wait, hold on. Wait, you shut up. And the stunt double You guys, see, these guys are such.
I'm riveted, Joey.
Thank you, Greg.
Welcome back, Cotter, telling a story about some Indian and woman of my dreams.
What was this?
What do you mean, welcome back?
Brothers of Frontier. Yeah, I remember this guy. Continue.
Remember it? Shut up.
Yeah.
What do you mean, welcome back? I'm like,
by the way, you were high up,
unbelievable.
and they tethered. They actually had a tether on.
They had a tether. So, but anyway, but for the rolling around on the rock, they thought it was too dangerous. So I did all the hand-to-hand stuff, but for the rolling around, it was too dangerous. So they were like, "We got a stunt double. You're gonna love him. He's great." And my shirt was not on. Okay.
Oh no!
I mean that must be a frequent request you get.
Sometimes it is. Yes. So wait, and they trow out this guy, and I'm like, what? This week? I was like, no, this is not my. You got to make me look at least how I look. I can't look worse than I look. And this guy was soft, man. I mean, God bless me, he's a great stunt guy, but he was not in good shape.
Yeah.
And I was so upset. And they actually had to cut around it because my inserts completely didn't.
Well, you were actually a different skin tone as well.
Yeah.
Like, they really didn't match at all. It was very bad.
I was so thankful that when you introduced me to Gio, I was like, he was like, "How are you?" I'm like, "Oh yes." Gio. And he was teaching me.
I used him for all sorts of shots, not even just for my stunt double.
Get in there for that forearm shot. Use Gio. No, but he actually was teaching me, and I don't know if you remember this. He would put me through warm-ups, like how to get your chest fully pumped right before I would come out in my tank top. So he was putting me through all these push-up routines.
He was a cool dude.
He was a really cool dude, man.
He and you were talking about doing Fall Guy.
I know.
As they wanted, you guys are talking about wanting to bring that show back.
Yes, because he was a stunt guy.
He was a
big
stunt
fan of the show.
guy before and then now, Long Behold, the movie came out. Yeah.
You know, I've got a stunt guy story.
Okay.
You know, I'm not.
Sure, it's
we're
terrible,
not the tallest guys in the world.
We're very tall.
You know, 5'8", 5'9", 6'2", in great shoes.
I'm 5'9", 6'2". That's what I tell people when they ask me.
But so I'm doing this football movie, and there's this one play where they wanted, like, it was a big wide shot, so they wanted it to really be like a really good play. And I didn't know the play, and I was like, all right, we'll let the stunt guy. And the stunt guy comes out, and he's like 5'4".
No.
Yeah, and I was like, you can't make me look shorter than I am. I'm already short enough. You look like a little peewee player out there.
You were Rudy.
I know. I was like, what is this? Come on.
They were leaning into it, man.
No, it was a comedy, so I think they were leaning into it, but still, I was like, oh, this is awful.
Terrible.
This is terrible news.
Stunt guys got to make you look better. That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
He was,
Anyway,
he was at least 3 inches shorter.
Yeah, that's saying something. Oh my God, that's like wow. But no, I was very thankful about Gio.
Yeah, he was cool.
He was cool.
Yeah, it was such and there was all those. Remember the scorpions out in Peru and stuff. We had scorpions.
You guys had scorpions. See, I would have loved this shoot. I can't believe this is the one I missed.
Yeah, I know.
You would have loved it.
You had better
actually.
stuff to do, Matt. You had better stuff to do. That's what I heard.
Thanks. You're making me feel bad. I didn't have anything. What was I doing?
They put him in the sequel.
You declined. You declined the job. You had better stuff to do.
You did.
Did he really?
Well, remember
No, this guy.
That's what I mean. That's kind of. He wasn't available. That's all I ever heard. I don't know.
Wait, what?
There was a part written much larger. There was a much larger.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
I must have been insulated from this. I didn't know you refused to work with us.
There was a much larger.
I didn't refuse to work.
I'm not doing that shit.
No.
What a douche.
No.
Look how good the movie turned out, too.
What year was this?
The movie turned out so well.
What year was this?
Oh, that's what year was this?
You did what do they call it? The one where we went to the island?
Jumping ship.
You didn't do Horse Sense, but you did Jumping Ship? Oh, God.
But you did Mrs. Doubtfire. You know, you had a little bit of an attitude because you were doing big movies.
What are you talking about? This is so not true. Wait, what year was it?
I mean, I remember Matt saying, is Robin Williams in this? Because I'm not doing it unless there's an A-list talent. I'm like, well, I'm in it. He's like, I said A-list. I'm not doing it. So I was like, wow, you're a real jerk. No, there was some conflict, though.
True.
No, there was some conflict where there was a much larger part for you and you couldn't do it, so he just gave you a cameo.
Is that true?
Yes, but when it came time for Jumping Ship, obviously, yeah.
Honestly, Horse Sense is really good,
like H-E-double-L, maybe it was something like that. You were working.
Yeah, it must have been I already committed to another
job. Working.
That was the
You
only
chose
way.
H-E double hockey sticks over Horse Sense, dude.
It was a horrible
I
film.
did not.
Bad move. Bad move.
That was a terrible one,
That's all
man.
I'll say.
Way to go.
Bad move.
I've done
Speaking of Vancouver,
I've done some bad ones.
That was another 6-weeker in Vancouver
Was it,
at the Sutton.
Wait, who was in that with you? It was Will Friedle, right?
Will Friedle from Boy Meets World.
Okay.
Yes.
Because you did one with Ryan Reynolds too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did one with Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
In Vancouver, didn't you?
In Vancouver.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't work. We shot Brothers of the Frontier in Vancouver.
Yes, we did. That was great.
With Jonathan Frakes and everybody.
Oh, yeah. That was fun.
Yeah. I worked more in. I worked in Vancouver. I worked more in Toronto though for some reason.
I lived in Toronto for a while. Yeah.
Like urban legends. We shot in Toronto. I did a lot of stuff in Toronto. Yeah. Anyway, but
now I hear that everything's moving down to Atlanta.
I did. That's where I did Stargirl. It was nice city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that's like where now that's the new Vancouver.
It's kind of still all evenly split between.
Is
Vancouver.
it? Okay.
Is it?
Vancouver, Toronto, and Atlanta are the 3 big centers.
Wow.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that wild?
I know, man.
That is so crazy.
I know.
I mean, it makes sense.
That's the hub now.
I know.
One of the hubs in the U.S. anyway.
It is.
Isn't that
it
crazy?
is.
It's a nice city. My son was working as a PA for me, and he loved Atlanta. He thought it was like a
it's cool. Yeah, my girlfriend's there.
And everyone's super nice, and city never sleeps. You know.
Yep. It's a cool city.
Yeah, it is
for sure.
Matt goes down there a lot.
Yeah, my girlfriend's from Atlanta, so she's down there. So I go down there and
a Georgia peach.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, she is.
Georgia.
She is definitely a Southern belle for sure.
Georgia.
Yep.
Georgia on my mind.
I went to a con, like some weird con in Atlanta.
Way to take the conversation
I did.
down.
And they brewed some moonshine, and the security guard.
You mean they brought you moonshine?
The security guard
in Atlanta?
Oh, God. Yeah. They brought me moonshine.
Hey man, this will take the edge off you. If you're tired of signing these weird autographs,
it was a strong brew.
Take a little sippy of this.
It was a strong brew. Let me tell you.
Was there wormwormwood?
No,
Worm?
that's absinthe. This is a southern.
Why is it green?
You can't know.
Don't worry about that, son. It's glowing.
Guys, they're really good. I love biscuits too. I'm a big biscuit fan, and I remember Atlanta. Like
biscuits and
would,
gravy is
dude.
unbelievable.
I don't even need the gravy. I just like the biscuits.
Love the gravy,
biscuits,
but not sausage gravy. I like bacon gravy.
Bacon gravy.
And they take the bacon fat and they make the gravy out of it. Oh,
really?
Oh my gosh! Oh, it's like
that sounds,
almost
you know
like
what that
frothy.
sounds like? That sounds heart healthy.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, real. And I'm like,
it's good for the arteries. Honestly, it cleans them out. Yeah. Wow. Bacon gravy.
Oh,
Perfect.
it's so good. It's so good. It's like almost like light and fluffy. It's I don't even know how to explain it. It's so good.
making me hungry.
Light and fluffy.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
Gravy. I've never heard gravy explained.
Biscuits and gravy. What?
But light and fluffy gravy. This is amazing gravy.
Something
It's
about
light
the
and fluffy.
bacon fat, I don't know. It makes this like light, fluffy gravy. Yeah, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, man, but it's really good.
Greg, next time you go in, ask for a light and fluffy gravy.
I'm gonna.
You go into a restaurant, people be like, "What?"
It's so good down
Oh
there.
my gosh!
So good.
All right.
Good stuff.
Well,
Guys,
that was a fast.
I know.
That was a very fast hour.
I can't believe it.
Yeah. It's fun.
that
Well,
was-
you know what? I hope that I get the chance. I know it wasn't necessarily my decision. I know I was committed to something, and
I think it was your
scheduling.
decision, but we'll blame it on you.
But
being
you know
committed.
what I'm going to hope for? I'm going to hope that this group gets to do something again.
Well,
someday.
Matt, nope, you already blew it. But Greg, I'm available. I'm just going to throw it out there, bud. I'd love to work again with
Me
you.
too, Greg.
Yeah.
Andy and I are not difficult.
So rude.
No, but you know what, man? It would be fun. It would be fun to do something. It
you
really
know,
would.
I wrote.
You know, we should do the.
I wrote
the
a
third
third.
installment.
I wrote a third installment to.
I sort of remember.
to Horse
I
Sense.
remember. I don't know why I heard that. Maybe you told me that when I bumped into you.
I think I might have, or I had the idea for it then, and I wanted to do it.
It's
and I actually wrote it.
Can I tell you something?
And
The script is fantastic.
I don't. It's probably never going to get made, especially through Disney. So at some point,
Disney Plus.
I
come
want to. I
on.
want to rewrite. I might rewrite it and just change some character because it's not. It's kind of a standalone, but there's some fun stuff. But I would love to just send it to you just for your own kicks, just to have some fun. It's a quick read, and I think you'd get a kick out of it.
Since I've never changed my phone number or my email. address.
I know.
You know where to find me.
I know. I got it. I'm
I
coming
have
after
the same
you,
find
man.
email
you.
address.
We'll be
I
a
have the
stage
same
5
email
clinger.
address from 1994. Like it's the only one I've ever had. I got the same wife, the same email, same phone number.
It's amazing.
Wow.
I don't
It's
change
amazing.
it.
I like
It's a
It's
smart
very
man.
simple. So you've really avoided a lot of drama.
Consistent. Consistent. That's what it's all about.
The turnover is not good. Not good. It's not good.
That's right. That's kind of what I figured. Just stick with the one drama.
That's
Yeah.
it. Just the same drama.
Yeah.
I know this drama. This drama knows me, and I'm good with that.
Oh
It's
my
true.
gosh.
Hey, man, we are so thankful that you
thank
came
you,
on the
man.
show today, Greg.
was
Seriously.
fun.
Seriously. Like,
Fun
it's
to
just,
reminisce.
it's so neat to see you. I mean, you haven't really changed that much, to be honest with you, but it's so cool to just, because I forever, that vision of, you 28 years ago is burned into my brain with just the same energy. He would come with the same
Yep.
laugh, you had the
Yep.
same laugh, and you'd have this. I just remember every day coming to the set, your passion, your energy just inspired everybody around you. And you would talk with your hands and you'd be like, we're going to get in there, we're going to do that. And you really commanded the set. And we've worked with a lot of directors, right? And and so many of them, you know, are much more introverted, sort of mousy. You know, they don't really say much. If they do, you don't really feel it. You were just this beautiful, like wonderful, extroverted energy that understood it. You had an amazing ability to know exactly what you wanted, but you said it with such positivity and strength that people followed your lead. Great leader. And you really made that movie, dude, one hell of an experience.
And you were dealing with kids too, and horses, and Joe.
Kids.
So how about that?
Terrible kids and
terrible kids,
terrible kids who wouldn't get in the mud. You get that
mud throwing me in
face down in the mud,
Joey. abusing me. So good.
No, it was great, man. It was a pleasure, and we're so thankful you came on the show today. And maybe, I don't know, one of these days it'd be really neat to do something again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I just love to see you. Next time we're in Vancouver, I'm gonna ring your doorbell, man.
Or anytime you're in LA.
Chicken fingers at Sutton on me.
There you go. Anytime you're in LA, though, if you're ever around, text Andy or something.
We'd love that.
We'll meet you for a drink. We'd love to.
Okay.
Seriously.
Take you out for a bite.
All right, we'll take you out. On us, Greg.
All right, buddy.
All right, buddy,
man.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank your wife for sharing you with us today. And we'll talk to you soon, buddy. All right?
Bye, guys. Take care.
Greg Beeman, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Brotherly Love Pod, everybody.
We will see you next
week.
Next week. God bless. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye. Hey, what's up, everybody? The Lawrence brothers are here. Thank you so much for enjoying this week's episode of the Brotherly Love Pod.
And if you want more of this show, check out our premium feed on Supercast.
That's right, where you'll see ad-free episodes, monthly AMAs, behind-the-scene content, and so much more.
That's brotherlylove.supercast.com to join.
Check out our link tree and subscribe on all platforms.
We'll see you all
next week.